I think our council has been pretty clear with the police chief that we don't want to be involved with ICE. We don't want to be involved with Homeland Security, mostly because we're not expertise. We, we don't know that law. And to be honest, most of us also weren't comfortable with the tactics.
She said, someone came to his window and said, "Are you so-and-so?" And he said, "Yes." And then he said, documents. And the guy said, "No, I don't have any." And he said, "Oh, no documentos, no documents, then you're illegal. And then his wife said, then I just heard my husband say, okay, like, wait, I'll get out myself. And then it disconnected and I didn't hear anything else.
And I said, I don't think it's ready. And they said, well, there's four of us that think it is, and you don't really matter. You're one or two. So we're going to move ahead. And I said, well, then I need to know when we're going to vote so that I can generate interest so that people will come out and talk to you the way I hear from them. And so I made a post on social media that went really viral and got shared like 200 times. And really, though it kind of all blew up. But it was that team of people that kept me alive. And when you face really, really hard things, you need each other. You need more than you.
Welcome to La Voz que Conecta. I'm María Álvarez, and one of the questions I hear most often is, what's really happening in Idaho Falls? Today, we're going straight forward to the source. I'm joined by Idaho Falls City Councilman John Radford for a conversation about some of the issues, opportunities, and decisions shaping our community. Today's conversation is primarily in English, but the topics we discuss affect all of us who call East Idaho home. Our mission at La Voz que Conecta is to bridge conversations, cultures, and communities through both English and Spanish. Este episodio es patrocinado por Franco Legal PLLC. Si tiene preguntas sobre inmigración o necesita orientación legal, la abogada Ivonne Franco Pérez está ofreciendo consultas gratis para ayudarle a conocer sus opciones. Comuníquese con Franco Legal PLLC. Y ahora hay que comenzar. Welcome to episode 2 de La Voz que Conecta. Today, we have an amazing guest, una persona que es consejo de la ciudad de Idaho Falls, John Radford. Welcome.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Yes, it is. It is. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us a little bit about community. That's what we're going to be talking about today is community and the systems. So tell us a little bit about you. Aside from being city councilman, you are the CEO of EICAP. You are also a father, professor, husband,
all the things,
friend. Yeah. So you have a lot.
I think it's maybe because I'm addicted to communities. I have to have all the communities in my world.
Tell me and the audience a little bit about that, addicted to communities.
Well, I think for me, I started early in life really being very social.
Okay.
I was raised by two parents my dad was very gregarious and outgoing, an entrepreneur, owned auto parts stores, and that mattered for his business to be able to do that. And for me, my mom was very endearing, and she just loved people, and she was super curious about people. And so
I love that.
she knew more about the bag boys at our local grocery store and who they were dating than I did as their friends.
And then you did as their friend.
She'd be like, "Did you know that so-and-so was dating someone?" No.
But I do now.
Yeah. So those two people were my, examples and the people that I kind of grew up around. And I saw that they've found value not in things, but in people and in joining and being part of something that was bigger than themselves. And I think it's led to like our family. I mean, many people know in town that our family is very connected. My sister's a county commissioner. My brother's the head of the redevelopment organization. And then my sister is an English teacher at Rigby. So she's probably serves more than any of us. So there's just this service kind of orientation that kind of led to us being social, right? Like the social world gave us that opportunity to be more involved in community. which gave us richness in our life instead of seeking just whatever you might seek, whether it's addictions or
Right,
money.
right. We all have addictions, whatever they might be.
For me, it's been chocolate and sugar.
Lately for me, it's been the gym.
Yeah, that's a good
I
thing.
mean,
That one's a little more positive,
it's a little more positive,
but it
and
could go too far, I'm sure.
yes, which is where we're gonna. Yes, it does. I think everything has to have a little bit of limits and balance and boundaries. So, um, tell me a little bit about what part of your story is it that most people don't see?
Hmm. Well, the first thing that comes to mind is something that you and I have talked about before, is that I grew up with a lot of ambiguity. So I knew I was a kid that was really good at athletics. I was really good at social skills, but I knew I was really bad in a school environment. And I
Okay.
didn't succeed really at school. And so I thought, oh, I am not a good person. Like, I am not. All my friends were straight A students and would turn in all their assignments. And that was just difficult for me. Like, it wasn't easy. And
I would have not imagined that actually. I would have thought maybe you were one of like
yeah,
the students that excelled in school.
right, and I think it's so fascinating because I spent 27 years managing bookstores, and I'm seen as very kind of in the know and have knowledge now, but
Yes.
but that is different than being good at turning in your papers and getting a grade that yeah,
I think that
it's
is very, very different.
yeah.
And
But
go
that ambiguity led me to really have a lot of internal dialogue very early in my life, like 8, 9, and 10, like, "Oh, I'm great over here. People really value me, really I can tell that I'm worthwhile, but over here, I don't seem to have worth, and I'm not as good as I am in these other parts of my life. Am I good?" And
wow,
and
at 10 years old.
yeah, there was a lot of that thought for me, and so it gave me a lot of opportunities to lean into the parts of my life where I was effective. So I was a great athlete, played, sports for as long as I could and loved it. And being part of a team was probably another piece of community that made me really realize that you can't get things done by yourself.
Right. How
And
obviously being part of a team truly shows that to you.
yeah,
And how does that play into what you do now?
well, I think the biggest thing is that I have to influence people more than I have to dictate to people, right? Like if you're going to be part of a team, it's um, there is times where you stand alone, but there's also a lot of time where you listen and try to empathize, or you try to find where they're coming from and see if there's validity to what they're saying as well.
I think that's a really good point. And obviously, not everyone can be in a position like that. And the reason that I say that is because before, when whoever would come to me for different things, like I literally judged. I automatically judged,
Yeah.
with
But your
my
thoughts were
biases, with my upbringings and everything. But after going to counseling and doing a lot of energy work and things like that, I was able to
see that
take a
there's
step back and just try to put myself in that person's shoes and try to understand where they were kind of coming from.
and I think that also helped for me to have so much reading and my love of books. From an early age, you get empathy through another person's eyes when you read.
That is so
Right. Like
true.
you're going into either a nonfiction or a fiction book. You're inhabiting these spaces of these characters, whether you're reading a presidential biography or a Brandon Sanderson Mistborn, you're still trying to figure out, what are these people thinking? What's their motivations? Like, what is it? And to me, that's always been fascinating. And then trying to figure out what my motivations are.
Okay. I think that's something that we're going to talk about. One of the biggest things that I want to be able to talk about in La Voz que Conecta is community. And community means so many things. Obviously, with what you do, you have community in city council. You have a whole community that you serve, Idaho Falls. And then
I had a religious community. I had a sports community. It's so funny. Like in my life, there's times like, oh, like my wife will sometimes say, "How do you know them?" and it's like,
Yeah.
they're my sports world. This was my Rigby High School world. This is my Eagle Rock, like West Side town when I grew up here. And really a lot of my connections are based on these different sets of communities I've been part of. Your college experience, your high school
Yeah.
experience. And I think it's interesting that how social media has allowed some of that to continue in a ways that when I first got out of college and high school, you didn't get to see people.
No.
But now on Facebook, you can kind of keep track, or Instagram or whatever social media,
Yeah.
which
The
is
different platforms that you.
the positive sides of
Mhm.
those things. But then, man, we've seen some really angry things on social media, like the last mayoral election. Like there's
Oh,
and so social
yes.
media has both sides of that, right? In terms of community, I'm not sure it's always a win.
I think it's really good to be able to have that freedom of speech, right? That we do live in the United States and we have that freedom. I personally think it's really easy for us to be
Oh yeah,
keyboard warriors,
yeah,
to be keyboard warriors.
yeah,
That is, I think that is, it's so much easier to say something and maybe for the first time, people feel they have
a voice.
a voice.
Yeah,
Yeah, they have a platform somewhere where they can say things, that they would have probably not said. And maybe someone, inspires them to take that action.
for sure.
I know that one of the biggest things that has been happening in Idaho Falls lately has been a lot of the things that have to do exactly with city.
Council.
Yeah, the city council. Tell us a little bit about before we enter all of those details, because we're going to get into a lot of stuff and we're going to get hopefully we're going to ask some questions and I know that we're going to be hearing things that we possibly wouldn't be hearing if we don't take the time to meet people like,
Dig deep.
yeah, like John Radford. And before we go there, though, I want to ask you, what people does the work that you do impact, and in what ways?
Hmm. Well, there's a few different communities that I think really benefit, right? So my work in city council impacts the entire community of like people that live inside the boundaries. Um, I feel like though a lot of times in my city council work, we do a lot of work not to do harm as opposed to actually benefit people emotionally or socially. And I wish we had more time or more ability to help people relieve their anxieties and their things that they worry about. But in my day-to-day work at Eastern Idaho Community Action Partnership at ECAP, then our real clients are people that are in economic distress, right? And
Yes.
so that group is who we're really striving every day to kind of help thrive. And we don't want to do that for them. We want to give a helping hand, but not a handout, right?
Well, it's just like saying, right? Like if you teach a man
A
to
fish.
fish,
Yeah.
yeah, they'll be able to provide food
Yeah.
for themselves.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really good thing. We all need help. We all, go through different things in life. And it's really nice to have
A safety
some.
net.
Yes, and that's, I think, one of the biggest things that a lot of the community that listens to La Voz que Conecta does not know about a lot of resources that already exist. How do you feel that we as a community could do better to make those resources more accessible?
Well, I think two things. I think we need to search for them. If you're part of that community and you need help, there does have to be some initiative, right? But I think the other piece of that is once that's true, then we at ECAP or other social services agencies need to make things accessible, whether that's through our website or we reach out. We're going to have the third week of September. We're
Hmm.
having a social services symposium at
I
the
saw
farmers
that
market. Yeah.
email.
So those are the
Tell
kind of
so, so
things.
so I'm going to go back really quick. You said we need to search for them first. Who are you talking about? who's we
The
and
people,
search for what?
yeah, the people that are in economic distress, if you have
Need to search for
the
the resources.
resources. Yeah. So at Eastern Idaho Community Action Partnership, we can help with your heating bill all winter. Like we can provide up to $500 for the 9 months and we'll help pay that through Idaho Falls Power or Bonneville Power or Rocky Mountain Power or whoever you might be
Yes.
paying. We also, at places like ECAP, we have rental assistance or we have Head Start or we have Meals on Wheels for seniors.
And
And
I that is so impressive because when I started learning a lot more about
what they
what
do.
yeah, just what ECAP does, I was like, why don't more people know? Like why do we not know? And I understand that you said we, the people that are in need, have to take the initiative to look for those things. Have you been in a place before in your life where you've been in need, and how did you feel?
I think I reached out to community, right? Like that's what I think that's why there's resilience in community and why you shouldn't cut yourself off from people and your family and those things because when you have difficult times, which we all will have, I'm
Always, and I mean, they don't just happen once or twice and
yeah,
then they're gone. Like they,
yeah. I'm
back and
s-
forth.
I'm squarely in middle class, right? Or middle age, sorry. And you get introduced to yourself at this point in life. You had all those hopes and dreams when you were 20. And then when you're 30, you were working on those dreams. And then
Yes.
if, my point of life, you're like, oh, now how many years do I have left to achieve things that I care about? And probably 10 years ago or more, it was when I realized, no, I want to give, I want to serve because I'm getting more from that than striving for just accomplishment or ambition or just straight up trying to get dollars. Now you need money,
We
but
we we have to make a living, right? We
yeah,
have to survive. But I think you are very spot on with that because I feel the same way. I feel like
there's been a
what
maturity into that.
yeah, what I put my time and energy and effort into has to be something that I believe in, that is going to make a big impact for, honestly, obviously, for me, it's the Hispanic community. One, because I'm Hispanic, right? And
Yeah.
so I have navigated these systems that honestly aren't built for the Hispanic community. They're very difficult to navigate as it is. So
I
the
mean,
reason I ask the question is, it's easy to say, go look for the resources. I get calls every single day, messages, messenger, from things to where do I get a DNA test to crazier things that are, I
yeah, I think it is incumbent upon the city, upon places like ECAP, the library, the just different places where resources are available that we're try to be as accessible to different demographics. And it's not just Latin communities in Idaho Falls. Interestingly, we have an Eastern European group. Like at Head Start, we have a number of languages that we're helping kids transition into English because it's not just Spanish. I think we're doing Czech. I think we have Russian. Yeah.
really,
So,
that is so awesome. I
yeah,
obviously, being here in Idaho Falls for
all these,
25 years plus, I've obviously seen a major change. And when we go out to community events, uh, when I go to like a Hispanic event, and that there's going to be Spanish music,
yeah,
Mexican food, all of that, we see people that you've never seen, and you hear the different dialects or
yeah.
the different
That is true. Different countries of South Latin America or even Spain. Yeah, there's
the
been a
different accents, and I'm like, "Oh my goodness." Like, Idaho Falls is no longer,
one thing.
just yeah, it's there are so many languages
Well,
that are being spoken here, and it's
we're
been beautiful.
I agree, and that's the mission of the United States, right? Was a melting pot. It's
Yes.
always been that, and I think it's interesting because of the Idaho National Lab as well that we're attracting some of the most intelligent people that are immigrants. Like I mean, PhDs, researchers from all over the globe. It's not. It's growing.
Yes.
And we have this growing Indian population from India.
Yeah.
Because,
And a lot of them are employees at INL.
well, and that's how they got here, and then they like it. I mean, I think the benefit is that we have this place that's livable. And I think that's the thing I worry most from a city council standpoint is how do we not lose the livability of a community that is going through growth? Because inevitably, you can't. The one limit we have in a country that's free is you don't get to say no to people coming. Like you you can't say, "Oh, there's enough people in Idaho Falls. No one else is, and close the door."
Right.
Um, we don't have a fire code number violation. So
Yeah,
like
there
we're
are only
full in Idaho
these
Falls.
many residents,
Yeah.
and then go find your own town.
Yeah. So because of that, how do we keep our character, keep our feel without being unwelcoming? And one of my big concerns is I kind of really hate this kind of hatred towards Californians or
I do too.
Utahns.
I really don't like actually any, right? Like
Yeah.
I mean, obviously with a lot of the stuff that's happening, I I feel it.
Yeah.
We feel it. And because I have felt it since I was in grade school,
Right.
I was like, no, welcome, like, welcome. I'm like, why are we like this?
Well, and I think that back to my upbringing, I was this redheaded kid. I didn't look like everyone else, and I was a head and shoulders taller. I was like 6 foot when I was 12 years old.
You definitely stood out
Yeah,
from the crowd.
and so I always wanted to be someone that went and helped someone feel welcome because I knew what it was like to not. Well, I didn't really get unwelcomed because I was in spaces where I was appreciated generally because of the things I talked about, like sports and social life. But
That is so awesome.
I didn't really clearly know what that is. And I think that's interesting in like the worlds that I'm in politics now. Like if you invite me to a Latin event, I'm willing to go because I'm used to being someone that stands out or, I can.
Well, speaking of which, you have gone to quite a bit of them, and tell me a little bit about those experiences for you. How have they been over the years?
I think it's really helpful for me to have it's a bit akin to that reading that we talked about, where I get to see the world through a different set of lenses.
Yes. Yes.
And I see a couple of things that I think I love about the Latin community. One is family and just that really loyalty to family and to doing things and planning things around family.
Yes.
But those events are other things too. The events of groups of family takes planning, and so that's impressive. Um, Commitment to family. I had an employee once that was said, I have this Sunday get together, and my family expects me to be there, and if I don't, I'll just quit. I'll go. I'll go to my family event before I would work on this Sunday at my retail work that I was doing, and we made it work for her. But like, that showed me so much commitment. Like, there's other jobs, but there's not another family that I have.
That is, I think, so true. Yes. Okay.
So I
So
love
commitment
that.
to family. Yes.
I love the passion. Like, there's so much fun to just hear people. There's a lot of humor, a lot of love. There's a lot of dancing. There's a lot of
Yes.
singing. And
Yes.
I think we need that. Like, one of the things I worry about with Idaho Falls is that we're this boring white bread religious community, which doesn't help us attract people from the outside world. I think about Santa Fe, New Mexico, which is kind of the art capital of the Western United States. And they have this hook, right, of interest and colors and all these cool things. And they're smaller than Idaho Falls.
Oh, wow.
Santa Fe, New Mexico is like 90,000 people. And with us and
And the surrounding.
with Ammon, we're like
Uh-huh.
140, 150,000 people. So,
Wow.
but what do people associate Idaho Falls with? And I think it should be as much about Latin and unique things like Dave the Dead or, Cinco de Mayo.
I guess what do you associate Idaho Falls with? And let us know where you are listening to us from. One of the things that I thought was actually so awesome was going to watch the Mexico World Cup games.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun.
And were you? Yeah, you were there at one of them.
I was at both. You weren't at one with me, but I saw both the Mexico games at Buffalo Wild Wings when everyone was together, and it was such a great thing to see families sitting together.
Oh,
all the
okay, so you
joy.
did go to the final,
Yeah,
right? It's
yeah.
true. How was it?
It was intense.
You didn't. I wasn't there, and I really wanted to be there.
The oohs and the ahs in that last few minutes when they had more players.
It was like just bugging their nails.
And it was disappointing at the end, but there was a lot of hope and a lot of cheering before that. I think we all benefit from that, and whether it's because of our heritage or it's because of our community. I'll be honest, like you just asked, what is it that people think of Idaho Falls that makes it stand out? Something that I worry about is that we don't always talk about what our character is. And I clearly think that Idaho Falls has a character, and I think it's innovation. We're one of the first public utilities in the United States, in the Western United States. And so our Idaho Falls Power just turned 126 years old.
Oh, my goodness.
Like, that's innovation, because so many cities started getting power in the 20s and 30s, but we were 20 years ahead of that. And then suddenly there was this contract for the Idaho National Lab, and the city fathers went to work, and they pretended to build a road out to this desert.
Tell the story. Like, I don't know if you've heard it, but
they knew that it was the nuclear mission and the atomic age. It was important, right? Like, it was going to solve so many problems.
Yes.
And so Pocatello was being considered, Blackfoot, a town in Montana. There was all kinds of places they were thinking about putting this. But Idaho Falls knew how much it would just give us a base forever in perpetuity. And so they would set up cocktail parties with the prettiest wives in town, and they would set up all these things to show that they were building a road. They rented caterpillars. It was impressive.
They put on a show.
And they won the contract.
They say fake it till you make it. I guess that one definitely shows that.
And here we are,
right?
There's probably 15,000 jobs or something associated with the lab.
Wow.
Idaho Falls now. And so that story, and then fast forward a few years, and now we're one of the first towns to make fiber to every home. And like, those are the things.
Really? I didn't know that you guys were one of the first cities to do that.
Ammon started with what they called business improvement districts.
Yes.
And they would have sections of neighborhoods, but we went to every address, and it was a key argument because most fiber rollouts, you go to the wealthy neighborhoods and make sure that you can get people to pay.
True.
But we said, look, we already have a power company. We have a meter to everyone's house, and we need fiber to those meters to be able to do the work we know of the future of what power is going to be capable of. And if we're taking fiber to every house, why wouldn't we offer them to be able to have fiber internet?
Right. Already.
Yeah. So
and it is actually way more affordable than, some of the
as a matter of fact,
options that are here.
Properties in Idaho Falls, they are estimated 5 to 12% more valuable because there's fiber to every home.
I can believe that, being someone that uses a lot of technology
and works from home.
And I have a son that uses a lot of technology. It is very, very useful now.
It's just like roads and sewers of the 19th century. Like, we had to build this stuff so that we could have the resources. So that all is because innovation, right? We've just been innovators, and we're hustlers. And I think that grows out of being in a desert and having to make a life out of a desert.
You have to figure it out.
Yeah.
Who would have thought that this is a desert? It is so beautiful. If you have not been to Idaho Falls, we invite you to come. It is so beautiful, so scenic. Come during the summer.
Yeah, and a Saturday farmer's market.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Oh, yesterday I think was just so beautiful. Like, it was a Saturday. We're recording this on a Sunday, and it was crazy to see how many people were out and how late, and the variety of people. And then you had the trolley horses. People were fascinated by that. There are people from out of the country that are here that they're like, what? We had no idea to expect this. This is just beautiful. So you get to be in charge of making a lot of decisions for the city, for this city, and for its residents.
Interesting you say that though, because I don't think of it that way. I think of
Okay,
I
tell me
think
a little bit more.
I think of that as I get to be the one that hears from people to make those decisions with people.
So,
Because if I was just the person, then that would be a boring town. But but if I get to
I don't
listen.
know. I don't know. I don't know. If you got to make all the decisions, I don't know how boring it would be.
But I do think that we have to represent people, right? And listen, and I think there's lots of examples of that over my 10 or plus years of being on council. But we're better when we hear from people, and we're better when we listen to the concerns people bring to us.
And I think that is we can't take things to people that we think they want. I agree with you 100%. We have to listen to the community that we're serving and find out directly from them. Um,
What their needs are, what they're struggling with, what are their
or
hurdles.
or what are you celebrating, right? Like it doesn't have to be all I get that, we always look to make something better, but also maybe somebody did something really spectacular and they can share it and it could be something that you could learn from.
Yeah.
We could all learn from, right?
Yeah. And I think the more that we create a space where people can be comfortable, then they will be creative. And I think it's so fun that the person who just won the Oscar for Demon Hunters.
Y-
Yeah, the
I don't remember the
animated
name.
cartoon.
Yes, I watched it. I watched it
I mean,
with
we have a
Felix and
we
I
have
was
a
like,
we have an Oscar
freaking
winner.
awesome, right?
We have an Oscar winner from Idaho Falls. Like that's impressive, right? And he went to Idaho Falls High School. Like the creativity is something he spurred while he lived here too. Like his storytelling and his art, all those things came out of his childhood here. So that's our responsibility, I think, as city leadership
To do
is
what?
is to find ways to create spaces where people can thrive and explore and be more than they are now.
I think that is something really, really good. With that, what systems do you feel help or harm our
So
community?
yeah, so I mean, fundamentally, the reason people exist in cities and the reason we have a city is safety. And so fundamentally, we have to make sure that the resources are there for our firemen, our EMT, our police, so that they have the
Right.
tools and
Right.
the resources to keep us safe. Now, with immigration and ICE and the things that we've been experiencing in our last few years here, I mean, I really, really am concerned that people have to live in fear around those things because living in fear around that is damaging not only to the people that are immigrants, but also to the community.
How do you feel it's damaging to the community? I mean, I can definitely know how, it could be for immigrants, but how is it to the community?
Well, there's some very pragmatic things first we can talk about, but one is, do you have enough workers to, you know, do your dairy work or your farm work or just any, even nurses and skilled laborers, a lot of them that we have working here are not U.S. citizens, and we need immigrants to fill those roles because that's who's willing to do the good work of a nursing or, the different things that need to be done.
Mhm.
So first of all, just, convenience for everyone else is that, hey, someone shows up to
It
work and
keeps
they're
yeah, we have to keep the city
and we have food on the
running.
table
Yeah,
and,
we
and
have to
milk
keep
and,
everything operating.
you know,
That is true.
that's very
Yep.
pragmatic. But I think the other thing is that when people are in fear, then we have people that um, maybe don't go to business events or events, and then we don't, as a city, have the revenue or the businesses don't have revenue to succeed. So there's that aspect.
And that is so true. Last week was these last 4 weeks, 5 weeks have been really heavy for the Hispanic community because there are federal ICE operations happening almost every day. Um, w-
Yeah.
we as community members did try to get information because people look to certain people in the Hispanic community to to help get information they want.
Yeah.
It's not that easy. It
It
hasn't been easy.
yeah.
Eh,
I also think it hasn't I think they actively try to not have people know, which is even harder, right? Like, I think that's a problem with how they function.
well, that's and how do you as a city leader, because we're coming um to the city leaders for help and guidance to.
I think the thing that we can do most, because we aren't in charge of federal troops or federal officers, that what we can do is to continue to let the public know what's being done, what we're cooperating with, what we're not cooperating with. I think our council has been pretty clear with our police chief that we don't want to be involved with ICE. We don't want to be involved with Homeland Security, mostly because we're not expertise. We we don't know that law, and it's
No,
not what our police officers are
it is
trained to do.
so complicated. I
Yeah,
mean, it's changes daily,
yeah,
almost. It
and we
changes a lot.
and to be honest, most of us also weren't comfortable with the tactics that were so true of the optics of how they were trying to intimidate and just make things fearful for the purpose of being fearful, so that people would maybe make decisions that to go home or to go to a different country or to just not be here.
Can I share something with you?
Yeah,
I get stories, and I want maybe your feedback on how could I share these stories with maintaining. Obviously, I'm not going to share names, um, because I want to protect the
yeah.
people, to trust and keep sharing things with me. But I got a phone call on I got a phone call, and I was at an event, and the person that called said that her husband got pulled over and he left his phone on speaker. And she said, someone gave me your phone number, said that you could possibly help me. I don't know what to do. I don't know
Where to start?
yeah, like he called me and they are holding him in Idaho Falls. Where? Like, do you know where they would hold him in Idaho Falls?
Well, Idaho Falls doesn't have a jail. We don't run a jail or a prison.
Uh-huh.
Bonneville County does, and so
It could have been Bonneville County then. And
but
then
ICE and Homeland Security have been across the country buying facilities to have places where they can detain people.
what do you not know is if they bought a facility in Idaho Falls?
I think we would know if it was in Idaho Falls,
Right.
and we haven't seen that.
Have you known if
I
there's somewhere surrounding?
um I haven't heard that. I mean, I've heard rumors of those things, but I've never seen
Right.
anything
Lots of
substantiated.
rumors.
Um, I think a lot of those facilities are very expensive to build and in the millions of dollars. And I don't think Homeland Security and ICE want to do that everywhere. They'd rather transport people to the ones they built in Salt Lake or Boise or something.
Yeah, yeah.
But
They're getting transported to Rigby, to Jefferson County. Um, but what I was going to share with you real quick was that when she said he called and he's being held in Idaho Falls, and then they're gonna take him to Jefferson County, and then she said, "I don't know how to find him from there. Like, how do I get to visit him? How do I find him? I don't know where his vehicle's at. How do I get a hold of the vehicle?" And I said, "I have no idea." It was a
yeah,
lot.
I mean, I don't, what I would have told that person is to call an immigration attorney in Idaho Falls right away because they're dealing with it, right?
And I did give a list of a lot of immigration attorneys, because we in Idaho Falls, we don't have that many immigration attorneys. We have that I know of two. I heard of another one, but one is
Yeah,
a prosecutor, right? And
yeah,
so it it's the line is insane, but thankfully we do have a huge list now of verified immigration attorneys that actually, have
experience.
the license,
Yeah,
number one, because we won't even go, well, we
yeah,
might go there, but
yeah.
there's a federal case against this immigration attorney, and she came here to Idaho Falls twice. One was in September 2025, and the other one I think was in April of this year. One family shared that they paid this attorney $70,000
Jeez.
and
Nothing. No.
nothing. So
Check credentials. Yes.
it's insane. So that's another thing that happens a lot, right? Is there's just so many things to try to get information out. It's like people don't know how to verify. If someone goes and tells them I work for the city, they can, and they probably will believe them. And so it's so hard nowadays. Like, I guess,
Yeah, I agree. I think you have to do the due diligence. It's unfortunate in the world we live in that that's how it is. I will say that's back to community. There was a time in this country where you knew what everyone did in town, and you
right,
could trust that the immigration attorney was the immigration attorney because that's what he did every day, right?
right.
But we live in a world where we look people up on Google and then we go send them money over Venmo or that.
And just because they have a website or they have I mean, Google is so much better, and you have to verify a lot of stuff now.
Yeah, but still, yeah,
But it's still, people will,
they'll jump through those hoops to deceive you, right?
which is
Yeah,
so unfortunate. I
yeah,
think that's one of the most difficult things that the community is navigating.
yeah.
People will call me and let me know that they're scared to go out. I had an event where we actually did have an immigration attorney present, and people called and said, "I'm scared to go."
Yeah, I do think that's a double-edged sword, isn't it? When you try to get people to gather for information around immigration, then is someone going to show up that's trying to look for people that are not fully immigrated? It's crazy.
Or if they are, like, like
We have,
we had an immigration attorney, but we were doing power of attorney. Yeah, power of attorney, parental power of
yeah,
attorney things
which is important. But
for any emergency
I
is
would
what
say
we
that
were.
maybe we work hard to find places where ICE and Homeland Security said that they wouldn't go to, churches, courts, so that you can have those places and not feel like you're going to get raided, right?
They won't go to the courts.
But yeah, and the reason they've made that determination now is that they realize that if they plan on going to the courts, then people who they want to charge with immigration charges won't show up to their court dates. Like,
Well, it's been
yeah,
happening. It's been happening here in Idaho Falls.
yeah.
People have been taken directly from the court
Well,
when they
they
showed up to.
they do take people from the court if they
Mhm.
are guilty of a crime and they should be deported. Like that is going to happen. But what they're trying to do is help people keep a safe space to show up to their initial court dates when there's not a determination of innocence yet,
Mhm.
or guilty, so that people will do go through the due process. It's also
As
important.
needed,
It's
right?
also important so that like someone who's been sexually assaulted or there's something that needs to be reported, we don't want people to be in this process of thinking that they have to stay hidden and then they have to put up with these horrible situations.
Unfortunately, it does happen. I get to
Um,
hear that, and I think it's just not with the Hispanic community, but because immigration is such a hot issue right now, that is a big threat. That people say, "Well, if you don't do this, I will call immigration." I mean, I get threatened, and I'm like, I'm a U.S. citizen, but why would you think I'm illegal?
yeah,
I wonder. It's been difficult. It's been pretty difficult to just hear and see
we need
the
some.
assumptions people make. Like,
Yeah, but you've lived here the previous decades when you didn't have to fear this in the same.
never,
But leadership matters, right?
100%.
And I think that we have people that are in leadership position right now that want to have people be fearful. And so the division is what they're searching for to gain power.
Well,
And it's not right.
it is so sad. It is so sad to see a lot of that stuff. And there is a lot of division. And like you said, fear, there's a lot of fear for so many people, right? There's so much misinformation.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that I loved about the World Cup, John,
Yeah, it has been fun.
was when Mexico was, still in playing, was to see how many different people from other countries went and loved,
The
loved,
experience.
loved, loved Mexico. I mean, did you see the streets
Yeah,
filled in
yeah,
Mexico City
yeah. Yeah,
and in
even
Guadalajara and in Monterrey?
I was in Boston and Mexico was playing one of the games,
Uh-huh.
and there was watch parties in the streets in Cambridge, like, where Harvard is. Like, it's just so fun to see everyone kinda get together, but I think we've seen Norway, just and Greece, and, like, there's this
Yes.
where the Scots who came and drank all the beer in Boston. Like, it's just so fun, right? And I think that's I think we need some commentator, we need someone to really step up and say, "This is why immigration is should be supported, not hurt." Because when we have people come to our shores, when we have people come to our nation and our states and our cities, it allows us to see our states and our cities and our nation in a better light.
Absolutely.
In the same way that when people come visit your home, you clean up.
Yeah.
And
Right.
you
It's
you
true,
put your
right?
best foot
That is so
forward,
true because
and
you want to show that.
yeah, and I think that we need more of that, and this country's been through this before. We've had eras of immigration where like, I think Ireland, like, some like 30% of the whole population of Ireland came to America through Ellis
Right.
Island.
Right.
Um, we've had lots of European immigration.
Mhm.
And one thing that for people from Mexico and the Latin countries can take some solace in is they were hated. They were very hated in New York politics. The Irish
Mhm.
were very discriminated against. In Boston, the Irish were discriminated against. But by the third and fourth generations, they were starting to have acceptance and winning mayorships and winning council seats and doing all these things. And they were the political workhorses because they were the ones here. Were doing the work, and so I think there's a bright future for immigration for immigrants that are here that keeps being vocal, that keep being visible. And then the power that they'll have opportunities to be part of will make it so that the immigration question will be something of the past.
Oh,
Be-
I sure hope so.
because we had the swing where we had all these immigrants, and then in the mid part of the 20s, it went the other way. And people, they closed down the borders, they wouldn't let people in.
Mhm.
And then we fought a world war, and we needed everyone to win.
And
And then they opened it
that's when
back
they
up.
did the Braceros program
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Yeah, which was
And
awful.
yeah.
I mean,
But we needed people, right? And then suddenly America became the world's kind of leader after World War II.
yes.
And then we became this beacon for immigrants again. And we saw immigration laws loosened. Um, I mean, there was times in the country where non-US citizens were allowed to vote in cities
Really?
because
Where?
in New York City,
Oh
in
my
Boston,
gosh.
because they
This is
knew.
news to me, right? Like for me, I've never
Well, they knew
ever.
they wanted them to be able to vote because they wanted them to live in the city and have a say in their city so that they would work towards citizenship and would become full
Wow.
citizens because they knew they had to live there and get along with everyone. And so if you're gonna believe in democracy and have people having a
Start
voice,
practicing
then
it.
do it, right?
And it must have been pretty easy then to get citizenship back then or something. I don't
Well
know.
there was a route, but it's just that it wasn't like now where there was only 400, 500 spots. That's the dilemma, is that we've limited the number, and then we've made it so difficult and so unpredictable with the changes in immigration programs that predictability matters if you're trying to get to this country. I have a number of people in my life that have waited 4 years in, like, camps in Turkey to get through
Really.
all the paperwork to be here legally because they were in conflict in another nation, or in the Middle East, they helped with the war effort against the Iraqi government or something. And they don't let them just come to Idaho or to America.
Right.
They go to this middle ground in Turkey and they get their biometrics and they make sure their birth certificates are legitimate and that they are who they are, say they are.
And this is like through the asylum,
So
kind of like an asylum?
yeah, there's political asylum, and then there's the wartime where people like from Afghanistan
Okay.
also have come here, right?
Okay.
So there's lots of reasons why we've taken people in as a country. And one of the great regrets of the 20th century was not taking in the Jewish people from Germany. We didn't have it was right after the war, and there was a lot of hatred of from World War One, and so there was a really intense laws not allowing people in, and there was not very many spots for the Jewish people to get to America. Had we been, open borders at the time through Europe, we could have saved another 5, 10 million Jews that would have come to America.
Right.
And so it's one of the things that I think people that were in power at that time, when you read their biographies, they feel really bad that there wasn't more done to get the Jewish people out, because there was a time in Germany where you could get out before they were rounded up
Oh my
and
gosh.
killed.
Oh, that is so awful to read. Like, and then you watch movies and then just I know, and I pray and hope that we don't get there with what's going on with immigration here in the United States. But a lot of people start comparing. That's where it started. That's where how first things started. And it
We need to go protest. We need to go fight this so that they make it hard for them. Because we've noticed that this administration, particularly when it gets hard, they don't want to do it. I mean, the Milwaukee ice situation, they turned around, they fired the person finally. Like, I do think that they do respond to public pressure eventually.
I think that they do too. I think that's one of the biggest things. And just recently, like on TikTok, it was all I would see. Obviously, the algorithm
Yeah,
follows,
yeah,
but it
yeah,
was just like all of these videos from people all over the world in Mexico wearing the Mexico jerseys
yeah,
and just saying like, I love Mexico. We got warnings, we got threats that to not come, that the people are bad. And they're like, oh my gosh. They were just like, no, it's actually really beautiful. It's very welcoming. They're nothing like what we've been told. One of the things I think I loved was to be able to, as a, you know, person that's Mexican American, I felt there was some healing because one, it broke stereotypes that people have about Mexicans, especially here in the United States now. Um, and then it it was beautiful to hear something positive and wonderful instead of like being scared,
yeah,
to just be out in public or being called Mexican or I'm not sure whatever
yeah.
that might be. But with just the last few days, unfortunately, there has been another shooting by ICE in Texas
Yeah.
that killed a man that
Well,
was not even the target, which is, and those are the things that we've been told by people that got pulled over is they are looking for so and so,
they may have a
and
similar name or something. Yeah,
no, they looked like them. I don't know. They're like, or we thought the plates were these people, and then they're like, but give me your documentation, right?
yeah.
The lady that was, I'll go back to the lady that heard her husband on the phone. She said, all I heard was it was kinda like in Spanglish. Someone came to his window and said, "Are you so and so?" And he said, "Yes." And then he said, documents?" And the guy said, "No, I I don't have any." And he said, "Oh, no documentos, no documents, then you're illegal? Illegal?" And then he said, or his wife said, then I just heard my husband say, "Okay, okay, like, wait, I'll get out myself, I'll get out myself." So she said, "I don't know what happened." And then I heard my husband say, "It's my wife," on the phone, and then it disconnected, and I didn't hear anything else. And so, that made me wonder, we're not getting testimony from the people that are actually getting picked up. Like, is that something that the city would like to get into to find out if the things that, we get comments about are true? Like, what would I guess as a city leader, if
You want the correct.
if residents, come and ask you that, like, what would you tell them? What would you recommend?
Well, I think we love it when people come to our council meetings and give public comment. So if they could share their stories there, then that always gets a lot of attention. And so that's something that can happen so that we can hear the stories. I
That is really nice, like, to think that people could do that. Unfortunately,
Yeah,
I feel that
targets that.
it so we did have, a reporter ask if anybody was willing to talk about these. Nobody was.
Yeah.
Nobody was. And they said we would anonymously. And they said because we are scared that we're going to be targeted, our family's going to be targeted. And they're not just scared for like immigration, they're scared of law enforcement, period.
Or
And
if they run a business.
yeah, and so it's been so hard.
Yeah.
Like I feel that a lot of these things aren't being really heard, and where do they get to be heard and be safe and be protected?
Yeah. I don't know that in the environment we have right now that there's any guarantee of that,
Right.
unfortunately.
That is really sad.
But that's also what happened in Germany. And I think that there's this double-edged sword of like, if we don't talk about it, then it can happen in quiet, and then no, it doesn't get fixed. And then if you do talk about it, but you're one of them that's the damage from talking, that doesn't seem worth it either. And so that's a difficult moral question for each person that goes through these things. I don't have an easy answer for people,
Right.
but I also know that the outcomes are going to matter, right? We do have to hear the stories, and we have to validate that they're real. We did know that we just saw someone die in a facility of a disease too, right? Like, so people aren't getting the treatments they need,
Yes.
and there has been Congress members attending the detention centers and trying to hold people accountable. But I just think fear is this environment that is going to be dangerous in so many ways. People make really bad decisions when there's fear
Oh
involved.
my goodness. I mean, how can you not, right? Like just start going down the rabbit hole. Like
Yeah.
it's so hard to get
Well,
yourself out of there.
yeah. And I think not only do people in our communities make bad decisions, but I think also because of fear and heightened things, then the government officials and the officers make poor decisions as well, right? Like everyone's making worse decisions than if everyone could talk through things. I think one thing that needs to be talked about, just from my standpoint, because I'm academic about this a little bit,
Hmm.
is that to me, immigration problems are not a crime, like a criminal crime. They're more like
It's a civic.
yeah, it's more of a civil matter. Like, hey, someone walked into your house, that's trespassing, which is maybe a crime. I give you that, but it's more like we need to correct this. So let's figure out how to correct it. That you're not in the right place at the right time.
I think I'm gonna ask some stuff and or share some things, and I would love to hear your feedback on this. When this gentleman, you know, recently got
Detained.
murdered
Oh,
in
Texas.
Texas,
Yeah,
when people are talking, they're like, so he didn't have any criminal background and he had no deportation orders. It's like, why are we talking like that? Why aren't we talking about this man got murdered because he didn't have the right paper,
yeah.
the right piece of paper?
The
He
escalation of
it
how you get there.
and I feel we constantly have to be defending ourselves because online people are saying so many things.
Yes.
I mean,
They've been emboldened.
ex-
Yeah,
extremely. And I'm like, why don't we try to look at this from like a human, right? Like try to get in the person's shoes.
yeah,
Um, illegal is illegal. It's like, first of all, do you know how many paths are available? Like almost none.
yeah.
Almost none.
And if your families, you got some tough choices, right? Like, yeah. And so that's certainly one of the most disappointing things of the last 5 years was that there was bill to kind of get immigration kind of figured out. And but it was an election year, and everyone said it would be better if they didn't sign the bill. If they didn't get the bill done because they could do their election rhetoric around this, and which just stoked the fire instead of solving the problem. It's unfortunate. But
I do feel that it doesn't matter what party you're from. There has been enough time and different leadership in the United States to make this happen. And they haven't. And I feel, this is my personal opinion, that they haven't because it benefits the United States dramatically with the amount of dollars that these people are paying into Social Security, Medicare, you know, federal taxes, state taxes,
yeah,
and that they don't qualify and they cannot get like welfare assistance. You can't even get welfare assistance after you have to have had 5 years of becoming a US resident. And to become a US resident is,
a process. It's not easy.
oh, I mean, people have taken 20 years, 25 years. It's the length and the cost and the pathways are so limited. It's not easy. It's
It's not realistic.
another thing that I just basically want to ask. Um, if there's a Hispanic family in their kitchen right now, John,
Mm.
that doesn't feel heard or seen by leadership, city leadership in Idaho Falls, what would you tell them?
Well, I think if I was really trying to help them be effective, then I would help them try to get one on one with someone in the city, someone that's an elected official in the city. I mean, I think that's when you have the best conversations than a hearing or a council meeting. And then see if you feel like they are being responsive, if they're willing to listen, are they willing to help? Are they being honest with you about what they can and can't do? Cities' roles in immigration are kind of limited in a lot of ways,
Yes.
but we do want everyone to feel safe and then protected. And so we want to make sure that can happen.
I actually appreciate that very much because that's one of the things that I have liked of the city council in Idaho Falls is how approachable
Yeah,
you guys are. Um,
can be. Yeah,
there's
people.
there's people, right? There's some more than others. It depends. How is the best way that someone could get a hold of the
So
different
yeah.
people?
So on the internet at the City of Idaho Falls official webpage, there's a city council page that has my phone number, like personal phone number as my email.
Oh wow, your personal phone number.
Yeah.
Look at
So
that. That is commitment.
yeah, we get calls every week, sometimes multiple calls. But I'll be honest with you, the people we hear from aren't usually the Latin people that are dealing with this issue. What
No.
we hear from is developers or businesses that are fighting over some issue, which is fine. I mean, any issue of the city, I'm happy to listen to, but I think this issue particularly is where I worry that we're not doing enough to help people feel comfortable or predictable about outcomes. Because I don't think people necessarily have to feel comfortable if they're here and they don't have their documents yet. Like that's going to be hard. You're going to have to
Yes.
wonder what's going to
Yes.
happen,
Yeah.
but it should be as predictable as possible so that they can make decisions.
I think so too. I think so too. That's one of the biggest things. It's like how could we have, a playbook of A, B, C, D. This is what we're gonna do.
Yeah,
These are the steps that are recommended for you to do. These are vetted attorneys. These are vetted
right.
things that, are here to help you and support you.
Yeah.
So we'll see kind of what continues to develop from this. I know that Captain Marley and Chief Johnson will be getting together and trying to get some of the answers that the community has. Like they're asking, how long are these operations going to be happening in Idaho Falls? Where are they at? Like,
Why are they?
why are they? Because I know they're saying that they're targeted, but it just seems like there's too much collateral damage and there's too many mistaken people that they're going after, and ends up being other people, but somehow they know they're not, they don't have legal documentation, which is weird to me. I'm like, where are they getting all this
Yeah.
information? It's immigration. So I mean, they have access to so much. And at what point is that legal? Is it not? Like, there's just so many questions in my
Yeah.
head.
Well, and I'll be honest, we were just having this conversation recently. We live in a time where your privacy has been given away, right? It's
How
some of
many
it
times by w-
ourselves when we said yes on some software that we bought. But we also have a lot of technology that's being used in public spheres that are, if you're going to be in a public space, you don't really have a right to privacy. If you're going to go to the farmer's market, your face could show up
Oh
on something.
yeah, absolutely.
Um, so we live in a digital age where crime convictions in the 70s and 80s and 90s were not in the 90s percent. They were in the 60s and 70%. And now, because of the lack of privacy, because you have a phone with you when you're committing a crime, or you have
True.
a license plate reader that the police are using, or you have something, or people's ring cameras on when from
Mhm.
across the street when you're doing something you shouldn't be. Uh, if I was a criminal right now, I wouldn't do it, because if your crime is big enough that it's in the public interest, or it's going to kind of gain in public interest, can you think of a crime recently that they didn't figure it out? Like, it is 90-95% because of the tools that are available. So that's a difference for with immigration now too, is that what you were saying about what they know. I mean, in a digital age, people have given so much information through all sorts of ways.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah. I mean, I literally don't think there's hardly anything private.
yeah, I was teasing with someone the other day. I was like, We might be able to see like the modern gangsters if they started driving analog cars, where they're like 80s cars that wouldn't have a chip in them. Because right now, if there's a crime, our
Right.
prosecutors go to a dealership and they download where those cars have been from their GIS data. So,
Wow.
um, you, yeah,
It's almost impossible.
yeah. So I thought it would be funny. They would have they'd only have a phone that was hooked to the wall. They wouldn't have a smartphone. All the gangsters, like we remember the gangsters of the 20s and
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
the prohibition era, they had certain things about them. I kind of wonder if someone's going to have a criminal enterprise, if they'd have to just change almost everything, because they're not going to be successful otherwise.
Yeah.
And we don't want criminal enterprises to be successful, but I do think it's
No.
it's fascinating that we have to find ways to have legal ways to do what everyone wants to have happen, and that's immigration. We need workers, we need new blood in our communities, we need the salt of the earth, so the seasoning and all the things to make life more interesting. So why are we
It
trying
is
to fight
so
against it?
beautiful. I
Yeah.
literally, I the freedom celebration.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I I had not gone. I probably went once and it was just to the fireworks and then I was gone. But, I used to work for the company and I just
Mm.
was tired by the
Yeah.
time I
Yeah.
worked all day. I'm like, I don't want to stay. I don't want
Yeah.
to go to them.
Yeah.
But this time, I wanted to go. And when I went to Riverfest,
You were amazed?
I mean, the amount of people, it was so hot, but it was so beautiful to see so many people out.
Yeah.
And when I was walking, like we were walking off, there's a lot of walking, the different languages that people were speaking. And it was just, and
Well,
I'm like, can someone pinch me? Like, is
yeah.
this
Idaho Falls.
Idaho Falls?
Think about that. So the World Cup games have had 60, 70,000 people. I don't know how big the stadium is in Mexico City. It might be close to
Like, I
100,000.
think like, yeah, close to 90,000.
So we had two of those stadiums in Idaho Falls to watch the fireworks. We had 200,000 people watch the
I was
fireworks.
okay, thank you, because I was wondering how many people went because I had never ever seen such.
Our traffic counts jumped by 200,000 people. And you can tell in the city that weekend, you can't get to places where there's
No, we
Traffic's
walked. We
already,
walked.
yeah,
Yeah, we walked a lot. I think we walked like, I don't know, 5, 6 miles
yeah,
that day.
yeah,
And it was really nice. I loved it.
yeah,
And it makes it beautiful. So continue coming to Idaho Falls.
yeah.
Stop by downtown.
See all the cool
See
things.
all the cool
We have a
things.
nightlife on downtown Idaho Falls.
Oh, okay. That's another thing. I did not like downtown.
And now it's just,
And now I'm like, my office is downtown. My favorite restaurants are downtown. My favorite places to go. It is so beautiful. The way that I have to
we
give
had an outdoor dance last
yesterday.
night.
Yes. I was like, this feels like, again, someone pinched me. Is this real?
Yeah, I was talking to someone yesterday that said that their friend had moved from Miami, and they were from Colombia, and they were like moved here in February, and they're like, "There's nothing to do," like because in their country and in Miami, that like almost every night there was a
Right.
place to go
Right.
dancing or to get out and do something. But in this summer, they've been saying how someone else came and moved with them, and they were like, "City has so much to do." So it doesn't
And
matter
it's
when you come.
perspective. I
Yeah.
think it's perspective, right? I think it might be perspective too, because there is so much to do.
Yeah.
I feel that there's so much to do. And I just want to say thank you to everyone who has made it possible for downtown to be an
Oh, it
area where
is.
we can, all commute safely. The
And
best
I'll also say that I see a large percentage of the downtown nightlife is Latin.
Yes, because we love to dance. I mean, you
Mhm.
saw
Yeah.
we love to dance. We're loud. We're loud. We hear that. We're loud.
Passion.
Passionate.
Mhm.
You love to dance. You guys banter like we just are. It's passion. Like it's not. It's I don't know.
It's the spice, it's the fun, it's the things that we
That's
all.
yeah, and it's not like it's all the time.
Yeah, yeah,
It's all the time, and so seeing that in Idaho Falls is really beautiful.
yeah.
It makes you feel part of. It makes you feel like, oh my gosh, other people are enjoying our culture too, our music, our heritage, and that is really, really nice.
And to bring that back to community, we have to welcome that. And I think there's so many people in this town that want to, like me, but sometimes the voices of the people who don't want it outweigh the voices that do want it.
How do we change that,
We
or at least
we need more people
try?
we need more people to talk about the fact that they want more immigration, that they want more influences, they want more people to come that are different than
And
us.
where do they talk about this?
Online, in Life in Idaho Falls, on Facebook, on all this,
Everywhere,
but everywhere.
everywhere.
You do it and you're consistent and you change minds when you lead, when you say things that are maybe not popular, but
Speaking of which, I'm gonna ask an uncomfortable
you
question.
certainly can.
Esta es la pregunta incómoda, and um, you you said you did some things that you probably that are unpopular. You just did something pretty big as
It's a council member.
city council member, and I say it from a city resident.
Mhm.
Tell us what you did.
So I had been working with the council for months, trying to help them see that changing our alcohol ordinance wouldn't really benefit anyone, and that the changes they were trying to make seemed to be things that were trying to fix problems that maybe didn't exist. But then they kept pushing this forward, and there were still some items in the ordinance that I was really worried about. Two of them were um, commercialization. So you're in a office here that is a commercial space.
Yes,
So you do business here, right?
I do.
And so if you wanted to have 10 people over that weren't your employees
Right.
and break open a bottle of wine to celebrate something, in the city of Idaho Falls, under this new ordinance, that would not be allowed.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh, I did not know that.
Hairdressers, your sister, right? My experience has been there's hair places in Idaho Falls where
Oh,
you
that
go,
a beer.
a beer or a wine, cup of wine,
Yeah,
so that
or
you're
soda, water, whatever. Yeah, they have different options of drinks.
you'd have to get a catering permit, and you'd have to have a caterer serve these alcohol
Oh,
beverages, which
oh,
is
you have to have the caterer serve it too?
that's who would have to serve it. So, and this is where the complexity of the alcohol ordinance gets weird. It's, according to a detective at the Alcohol and Bureau Commission for the state, they said this has always been true. But that's not what people think, and it's not what people have
No.
been practicing, right?
Right.
If you have a Super Bowl party and you own a car dealership and you wanted to get everyone together and watch it, and you
Yeah.
said, bring your own beer, everyone probably thought that was fine before. But according to this ordinance, that was going to be eliminated unless you got a caterer and you got a permit. We want people to be safe, and I'm not advocating that we're not trying to be safe, but what I'm saying is we already have a lot of alcohol ordinances and laws, and state law doesn't allow cities to actually make law around alcohol. It's the state that's primal. And so the state makes the law. We can administer it, and we can try to interpret the state law, but we shouldn't be adding to it.
I was going to say, yeah, because that's just, to me, that just sounds like it's adding extra.
Regulation.
Yes,
And
which
it's
we already have.
problematic. It's problematic for a city like Idaho Falls, and this is a bigger reason why I spoke up, is if we regulate higher in the city, but Ammon doesn't and the county doesn't, then if you're gonna build a new bar or restaurant
Or
or
business.
yeah, don't do it in Idaho Falls, So
Well,
that's
yeah, there's conversations happening in our community about we're gonna have to take like our weddings, our
event spaces.
quinceañera, yeah, like we're gonna have to
Do that other
do that
places.
to other cities. We're gonna have to go take that business to other cities, and that's a lot of money for one
Well,
event.
and it's also convenience. You want people that
Oh
live in
my
Idaho Falls to be
gosh.
able to go to places in Idaho Falls, so
Yeah, you don't want to be driving to Blackfoot or Ammon or Shelley.
And so all of that to say, I just think there's more work to be done here. To be honest, what I would have preferred is that we not mess with this at all, because it's a little bit like water law in Idaho or water issues. No one's going to be happy once you start digging in. It's a little like putting your hand in a hornet's nest. Like, I don't know where you win. And for the kind of outcomes that we were looking for to kind of fix
It's
these things, I'm
not.
not sure there was enough reason to do it. So that's, but the hard part for me was that my council mates didn't agree with me on those points. And I had been talking about it for months that I think we needed to do this because I am out in the community, and
When you
this is,
said that we needed to do this, what do you mean?
we needed to stop on the commercialization
Okay.
piece, that was unusual. It's not something else the rest of the state has
Mhm.
identified and actually written out. They kept it vague on purpose so that people could just go bring their own beer, and no one's asking many questions
Mhm.
until it rises to a level where it's a real problem or something, right? Um, we should just leave things where they were so that we could not have this new portion of the law that we're not sure is even legal and will be challenged in court, I'm sure.
And
Um,
and that's one of the things that I feel that not just myself, but many of the residents, business owners are confused. They don't understand it, and you just said it. A city council, you don't understand it yourselves because it
complex.
is very complex. And so
And so what I had to do is I told the council that, hey, I don't feel like we've heard enough from these bars and restaurants and event centers and the private landlords, because what this really can do is make landlords a criminalization, right? So the penalties, if you knowingly allow someone to dispense alcohol in your property as a landlord, then you're charged with a misdemeanor, not the person who's poured it, but the landlord.
oh,
And that has never happened in the state alcohol laws that we've seen, that I can tell, that,
but it's
it should be the
again,
person
you're not
dispensing.
no one's selling.
Right. It should be the person if they did something
It
wrong.
should be them, right?
Yeah.
Because they're the ones that made the choice to bring
Yeah.
it. The person that's running the business isn't even there. They usually have,
Right. They've signed a contract.
the staff and different things
Mhm.
and
And I
security
just
and all of that.
and I just worried that would create this kind of police state from the landlord. Like they'd be watching like social media to see if people did a toast or they,
Oh
like
my
it doesn't put
gosh.
landlords in a good position. It makes them have to become the police of this alcohol for their place of business. Anyway, all
It
of
just
that,
seems so
yeah.
intense. And like,
So I wanted
but
it to
isn't it
slow
already
down.
hard? Sorry to
Yeah.
interrupt you. Isn't it already hard enough for our police department to be able to cover just the things
Yeah.
that they have?
Yeah. Yeah. They're overwhelmed most of the time. So yeah, I just whatever we pass, it's unlikely to be enforced consistently or with enough time and effort because we just don't have enough resources to get people there.
And
And
that can create.
problems as well.
Mhm.
Because you need equity, you need fairness about how you enforce it.
Yes.
And so all of that to be said, they got to a point where they were like, "Hey, we're going to vote on this, and we're going to vote on it Thursday." And I said, "I don't think it's ready." And they said, "Well, there's four of us that think it is, and you don't really matter. You're one or two, and so we're going to move ahead." And I said, "Well, then I need to know when we're going to vote so that I can generate interest, so that people will come out and talk to you the way I hear from them."
Right, because you do hear it.
Yeah. And so I made a post on social media that went really viral and got shared like 200 times and really though it kind of all blew up in the way that I knew I didn't think it would go viral like that because my post was pretty
It was
generic. Like I basically said, go look at this with your attorney. And if you have a business or event center, like you should really pay attention and see what you think of this. And your last chance to talk about it is July.
yeah, come give your
Yeah.
input because we're voting on it
Yeah.
today.
And but I did make a mistake and say that it was a felony when it wasn't. It was gonna be a misdemeanor. I was just hurried and didn't reread, and when I saw it the next or when I read it again finally, I'm like, "Oh,"
Oh,
horrified that
shoot.
I'd said felony
Oh,
when
wow.
that wasn't true. The city doesn't we don't actually have any felony things that we can charge. That only can be from
Oh,
the county.
okay. Okay, that's good to know. I
Fundamentally
didn't know
yeah,
that.
fundamental thing that I always knew. So I don't know if I spell corrected, like, I don't know how it happened. I should have just used the word criminalization because
Mm.
that's what it was really about. Anyway, so I kinda had to go out on my own to say that, and my council members aren't necessarily happy about that, I don't think. But I do think they heard a lot from there was an hour of testimony that night. It did get tabled. We'll see where it goes from here, but I hope that we go back to just saying, "Hey, we're gonna tie this to the state law."
Yes.
And that when I started researching Meridian and many of the other cities in the state, they just say their whole ordinance is refer to the state law. We're the implementers, essentially, is what it says.
It becomes a lot. It becomes a lot, and it's like I feel that the city has a lot that it already is responsible for and deals with. It just seems like a lot of extra work. And like you said, with so much vagueness, like
Yeah.
it's gonna it might come back and not in the best way possible. But I want to go to the point of where you did something that speaks, in my opinion, very highly of what leadership is. And
What are you talking about?
you you don't that making that post.
Oh,
You went
out on my own.
out on your own. You knew that you were probably going to get,
Pushback for sure.
and it was going to be uncomfortable and people were probably not going to be happy to see you when you walked into that room or when they
Yeah.
saw the post.
Yeah.
Um even knowing that, or did you know that was going to happen?
Oh, I've had these moments in my 11 years on council. I've
Okay.
I've had to stand on my own more than once. Um, I think it really I wish they scored politicians on when they voted against the majority sometimes,
I think
so
so
that
too.
you should have at least a 10 or 20% time frame that you're voting against the majority, or else we're in real trouble because of groupthink, right? Like we're just doing what everyone thinks we should do.
Yes.
And so I try to be the devil's advocate at times on the council, but I don't want to be that all the
All the time. No, no,
because
no.
you
Of
don't want to be
course
that
not.
person either. And so in this case, I felt like it was important. But I will say that we need to stand up when we feel these things. The training for me that was true is I refereed basketball because I had my whole life in basketball and I'd coached and I refereed high school basketball. And so half the gym was going to be mad at me when I blew the whistle and made a
Yes,
call.
that is so true.
Watching FIFA officials right now, I've been watching that. No one's going to be happy, right? And
Right.
so you make a decision and then you have to be fine with it yourself. And so I don't have a hard time doing that. And like I said before, maybe the ambiguity of my life of being redheaded and not being great at school, but just standing out at times, that I had to be willing to do these things. And I've become comfortable in those places. Also, I've worked really hard to not just be the people pleaser.
Tell
Like,
me more about that you've worked hard to not be the people pleaser. We're getting
yeah,
into the final section of
yeah,
the podcast, which is healing.
yeah. I spent a lot of my life in a religious environment that was all about service and
Yes.
defining yourself by what you gave and what you did to serve others.
And that was your worth, or that was
Yeah, that's where you found your value, your insight into yourself. You're like, oh, I'm a good person because I'm
because I
serving and I'm not doing this for myself or whatever.
mm-hmm.
And because of that, it's a perfect training ground. Any high pressure religion, they tell you that God's in your mind,
I can hear your thoughts,
yeah,
yes.
you're like, you have to do the right thing all the time. And
And
because,
we're only human.
yeah, you're not going to do the right thing all the time.
Yeah.
And so people pleasing though is a great path to feel good about yourself because
It
you're like,
is.
hey, at least I'm being good to them or I'm trying to do what they need me to
Yeah.
do. And uh, I think there's a lot to people pleasing that's positive. Like, I'm not going to say you shouldn't try to please people, but you also need
When
to
it's
find
kind of going against
yeah,
you, right?
you got to find the places in your life where you're willing to stand up and stand up for your needs and stand up for the things that you know are important. And so,
That's actually very, very big to hear that out of your
yeah,
mouth, because I've known you for a couple of years now, and and that was probably your identity, like you
yeah,
said.
yeah. And I need to be fine with people not liking me in the role that I have.
Yes. And actually, that is a good thing.
Yeah.
Like, you really don't want
Yeah.
everyone to
Well,
like you.
and you don't want to be trying to make decisions based on people liking you.
Oh my gosh, that's the worst.
Right. And so, like with the alcohol ordinance, these were principles about government that I believe in.
It's
And they're
it's
things
not even about the alcohol. It's
I don't
the
drink. Yeah. So it's pretty
Yes.
funny. But I
It
do
it's
have,
it's the principles. I agree too, right? For me, that felt like it was government overreach. And for me, that was worrisome because I'm like,
it's the same issue on immigration.
yeah,
It's
more,
yeah.
more, more. And
Anything
look where we're at nationally. Like, is that what we want in Idaho Falls? I don't That is not Idaho Falls.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, I have to do that every once in a while. But I think it gives you credibility for the times when you do speak up too, because I'll be honest, I think my council mates will take things I say more seriously going forward when that many people showed up to back up.
Tell me
Yeah, there
of the
was
people that showed up, like, what were you expecting?
well,
Because, I mean, you made that post
yeah, and I'd
very
watched.
late, like, in the day,
Yeah,
like, I mean, right before the vote. How many people were you expecting?
I didn't really know, but there'd been a lot of interest online. But we had an hour's worth of 3-minute comments, right? So there
And
was a lot of
and
people. It was
people
full.
and people didn't I was gonna ask, like, is there, do you guys only do 1 hour of public comment?
No, there
But
was one.
because there were so many other people that
Yeah,
didn't get up
yeah,
either to say. I'm just curious, yeah.
yeah. Now the next thing is, I do think that I've heard from my mates already that they worry that the public wasn't informed or that they weren't correct about some of their comments. And that is entirely true about some things that was discussed because it is a complex
Right.
ordinance.
It is.
And how many times did we hear them say, "Hey, I tried to read through this and I made it to page 12 of 32." Well, one of the focuses of trying to rewrite this ordinance was to put it all together in one ordinance. It was 3 before, and so that it was readable and understandable by
Oh
people.
my.
So, we obviously didn't hit that mark.
No, not at all. Not at all. Because even within, I feel you're there, I'm not. Even within the council, do you feel that you guys understand it?
Well, I've worked really hard to I've read it probably 5 times now, but it's a little bit like COVID. One of the things that we decided as a city council is that we weren't gonna be making a lot of those decisions, although it wasn't always our choice that we were gonna make those decisions. The governor really had the health department's making a lot of those decisions.
Mm, yes.
Mostly because we're not doctors. Like,
Right.
we didn't know
You're
the
not the ones
yeah.
that specialists.
And I think with this liquor ordinance, we need to remember we're not the alcohol attorneys, and we needed more consulting. And I think that that is going
From
to happen.
specialists, yes.
So I have one other council member who told me that they were willing to spend some money on the consultants to come in. Um,
So right now it's what can the public
yeah,
expect, I guess?
go to the website, Idaho Falls city website. Email your council members. Tell them what your concerns are.
Uh-huh.
If you're a business owner, I would hire an attorney because this is really important. Like,
Okay.
if you're a bar owner or a restaurant owner, I would have them review it and have them do it from your vantage point as a business in the
As your
city,
attorney should, right?
and tell you where things are um, problematic versus where they're not. So and it's one of the reasons why I don't think cities should be touching these things as much as they do, because it is going to cost businesses and people the resources to go kind of find this out themselves too.
It is. It is. Yeah, it's been really difficult, but I appreciate you sharing that. And with the city council, when will this be discussed again? What can we expect in terms of
I
what's the next step
I don't
on
know.
this ordinance?
Right now it's tabled,
Okay.
so there's not a date certain.
Okay.
So we'll see. And there's a lot of public comment for them to sort through.
Oh, yeah. I mean, have you seen the Facebook groups
Yeah,
and the personal posts from different people?
yeah.
Like it is the hot topic.
And I would say that 70 or 80% of that is things just saying, I don't have the government overreach. And so that's easy to say, but how does that actually come out in an ordinance? And so that will be a judgment call for a lot of people, right? Um, but the specifics, we had some very specific things about like building codes and building safety. And so we had great comments and they brought forward things that council members came to me and said, "Oh, I didn't know that there was an A3 designation for mercantile, buildings." So there was some good things that we slowed down, I think. And
I feel it's really good. Yeah. Because it impacts so many people and we don't know what we don't know. And until we hear, and it's going to take community and it's going to
yeah,
take trust and it's going to take making the time
yeah,
to be able to do that. Well, I just wanted to say thank you because you actually inspired me. I know I had not seen that part
of me.
from
Yeah,
no, and like yes, and we have conversations in different spaces and different meetings, different topics that you talk, but to do this, I knew this was not the way you no, it's absolutely not. And I was like, whoa, who is this? What? I still don't know this guy. Like he still has so many surprises. And
yeah,
one of the things that we're gonna close with, John, is if you could share with our audience probably one of the moments in your lives which was um probably really difficult, uh, painful, um, emotionally that you probably thought you weren't gonna get through, and how did you get through it?
yeah. Um, well, in 2019. I found out I had an enlarged heart, and they told me that I needed to have open heart surgery.
Immediately.
Well, yeah, I my aorta was at risk of exploding, and so they measured it. It was supposed to be 3 centimeters. It was almost 7,
Oh my goodness.
and so they knew that if I was in a car accident, I would have that burst. If they told me I couldn't lift more than 15
Oh
pounds.
my gosh.
And so, I went and got the scans done and was preparing to get that surgery. And then they scanned me and found thyroid cancer in the scan of my heart. And so my doctor was so devastated because he just told me I needed to have open heart surgery.
Right.
It took him a few weeks for him to say, "Oh, John, you also have cancer, and we're going to have to like take your thyroid out and, do what we need to get the cancer out of your body." And I'll be honest, um, it was about 10% lethal, meaning there's about 10% of people that don't wake up from the heart surgery that I
That's a very high percentage because it's usually the 0.1%.
yeah, it was enough that they made me do my will and, like,
Yeah,
like
they do. They
yeah,
do. They do make you have those things ready before you go in when
yeah,
when there is such a
and
big
that
percent.
so and then facing this cancer diagnosis was, it's always scary, and
Just hearing that word is
yeah.
super scary.
So, it was an emotional time, and I found out in January. I had the surgery in June. So it was a
It
6 month,
was really
5 months. I had my thyroid surgery in May,
so
um,
you had that one before the heart surgery.
which was another hard thing because the 2 doctors didn't make the decision. I was like, "Hey, you're a doctor. Tell me which surgery I should
I
have
should go
first."
first,
And
right?
they're
That
like,
makes
"Well,
sense.
I'm a heart doctor. I don't know anything about the cancer diagnosis. I'm not gonna make that decision because I don't know how aggressive it is." And I talked to the cancer doctor, and they're like, "Well, I don't know anything about your heart.
Oh my
I don't know if your
goodness.
heart can live through the surgery of having the thyroid out." And
And
so
couldn't they communicate together?
they said that that was not what was gonna happen. It was my choice.
Oh,
And
that's awful. How did
yeah.
you feel about that?
I didn't like that. But luckily, back to community, one of the kids that was my best friend's little brother is a anesthesiologist at ERMAC, and I was telling him my dilemma, and he's like, "John, come to ERMAC, do the thyroid surgery because I'll be your anesthesiologist. You're
Oh.
under anesthesia. I watch your blood pressure at every second. We'll have your heart on a monitor. You'll be in a trauma center where we could do the surgery if your heart does fail."
Oh, wow.
And
Yes.
my surgery didn't end up happening at ERMAC for my heart, but it was in Utah. But he gave me that kind of confidence to make that way forward. So that was good. And someone I knew, if it was just
Right, just a
someone, then I
random
wouldn't have known whether to trust him or those things. So, but the difficult part was facing my death, right? Like,
I was gonna say the fact that you had to write a will, like, what how were you facing that?
well, I think the hardest thing I had to do was walk into that hospital, drive to Utah, and actually make the decision to walk in because there's a lot of guy in me that's like, "Oh, I'm fine. I'll tough it out. That they're wrong, you know."
I literally got chills,
Yeah,
chills, chills, because I know I'm not the one that walked in, but I walked in with my son,
yeah, you've lived it.
the same thing, and it
Yeah,
was,
a question. Yeah,
am I
yeah,
am I making the right decision?
yeah. And when it's people you love, and if it's yourself, those are questions that will forever affect you, right?
Oh,
And
yeah.
so, but facing that was emotionally liberating because at some point I had to look back on my life and be okay with it,
Yeah.
and then look forward and see if I'm okay with what my future holds. But it changed a lot of things for me, right? Like I'm a
I
more
was
social, more friendly person. I I would have never been out and being friendly, prior to my heart surgery in
really?
terms of being out with someone of the opposite sex that was a friend, or like I was just in this higher religious kind of atmosphere that hey, guys didn't weren't friends with other women socially for like civic things, like that needed to be true for me, and I leaned into friendships that have been really meaningful, right? And so that wouldn't happen if I probably had the surgery, I wouldn't have those people in my life. I also think it was hard to face that I was mortal going forward after that. So
Oh, no,
those
really?
7 years since then, 2026, 2019. So I think um, I lost my mom really young with a phone call. I found out I
Oh
was
my
24.
gosh.
I wasn't young, but I was
That's still
early in my
young, right? Like, yeah,
and I knew that your life can change in a second.
you absolutely
And so
lived
I've
it.
I've really been careful. Like if there was a choice of me or my wife taking my daughter to school in the morning, and could just stay home and sleep, I was motivated to take her because I was going to want that opportunity to know that I gave that time and didn't regret that I didn't spend it with them
Right.
because I had seen that she could be taken at any second. Like just
Yes.
the world can do that.
Yes.
And so knowing that I could have been done in 2019, and we all know people in our lives that are our age that are past.
Yes, we do. It's
And
been hard.
yeah, I will say the other thing that really one tool that I took to that is that I wanted to choose my own hard because it was hard to get your chest cut open with a bandsaw and be in the hospital for 10 days. That wasn't easy. And
Oh
it
my.
and I don't know that my heart expansion had anything to do with my health and my determinations of how I treated myself and how I ate and how I exercised. But after that, I knew that I could increase my ability to not have to do it again if I exercise and I eat better and I do the right things. And so it's really helped me choose my own hard. Like I'll wake up every morning and do the walks and do the things that I need to
You
do
do.
so that I can actually know that that's my choice.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you do the walks, you call them the rucks. Tell us a little bit
Yeah.
about that and what it does for you.
So I'm convinced that humans need resistance to have energy. And I came to this conclusion a lot out of my work in council and power, where we create hydrogen gases by pushing things through pressure through a membrane. And that brings off the hydrogen gas, which we can then burn as stored energy that can give us energy. And I also read a book around mitochondria that I found out that that's how our energy happens for us.
Yes.
ATP. The only way we get ATP is when proteins are pushed through a molecule at the mitochondria level, and the offset is ATP, which is stored energy, which we can call on at other times. But you know how you get ATP? You rest, you sleep well, you exercise, and you eat right. There is no shortcut. There is no pill you can take to make that
That
happen.
is very true.
And so when I kind of had those things swirling in my mind, it became pretty clear to me that power comes from resistance and doing hard things, especially stored power. And so that's how the daily rucks came in my life. I read a book called The Comfort Crisis.
Okay.
And in that book, the author kind of falls in love with carrying things because he had to carry a reindeer that he'd shot in
Oh,
Alaska
okay.
for food because
Uh-huh.
they were out spending a month or two in Alaska. And he just said his whole body was on fire and he felt so alive when he'd carried that weight back to camp.
Wow.
And so then he started looking at other groups that used weight training that they carried,
Uh-huh.
and the US Army, the Roman military, they have all trained with weight training of carrying packs. So I carry 50
That
pounds on my back every morning
mhm.
for an hour or so. I do that without my phone so that I can have creativity and
And you
be
do it at what time? Do you still do it like at
yeah.
a certain minutes before sunrise?
Sunrise. Yeah, there's a spiritual component that if you wake up an hour and 36 minutes before the sunrise and get out and do that, then that's when the world is at peace and it's at its stillness. And that they say in Hindu tradition that it's
Mhm.
when the veil between God and the earth is the smallest, the thinnest.
Oh.
And so it's important for me to take that time. It's sometimes in the summer that can be 4:20
I
a.m.
was going to say, yeah, I wake up at 5:30 and the sun has already risen. I'm like,
Yeah.
"Damn, I
Yeah.
missed it."
Yeah. So I don't do that every morning when it gets to be 4:20. Most of the year, a lot of the year, it's like 5:50 or 6:10. But when that's true, because the sun doesn't come up till
Right.
7:30 or 8. But anyway, so that's been a way for me to have emotional resilience, a way for me to have that. But I'll also say friendships like yours and mine that you get emotional resilience because you can share your burdens with each other.
Yeah, that's actually one of the biggest reasons why I feel that there was such a good connection was because you heard me talking about
The challenges in your
yeah, the challenges, that have come with my children and their health and you reached out several times and I don't even remember seeing you at the event. I know your brother, you know, was there and he's helped sponsor and I confused you and your brother. So when we finally met, I was like, well, that's not.
the guy I thought that
I'm
was.
like, maybe it is.
Mhm.
Maybe it is. And anyways, I little did I know that you understood.
Had the same challenges. I'm a
And
caretaker.
and that was like it's so hard to talk these things with someone that's not living them.
Yeah, or
Uh,
experience.
yes, and like I said, it's not that I was happy that your family was experiencing this. Absolutely not. It just felt like I wasn't alone and
Yeah, and
someone
authentic that we had those same experiences.
yeah, that was really, really I'm like, "Whoa," and super social, like, so for me, right, like,
You and I, we are gonna go talk to someone. Right.
I didn't know how much I had become unsocial,
That's right, yeah.
and
Because you're so busy caring.
yes, and I didn't know how to leave that guilt of putting things in place that allowed someone else to be caretaker and me just mom. We're actually just starting that this what
Last few
a
months.
month,
Yeah.
2 months ago. Honestly, like seriously, and it's been nice,
Yeah.
hard, but also nice, and it's hard.
Well, it was a real lesson for me in management as well, in my role as CEO and other I managed bookstores for 27 years. And when things reflect on you, you want to take control. And when
Don't we all?
and when we
Don't we?
love as fiercely as a mom or as a spouse and that their health and their lives are at risk, then we're not gonna want to, like, allow people to have that control outside of
Yeah.
us. But if you don't have resilience through others and the medical facilities and the medical world, they're not gonna succeed. It's
Well,
not
I mean,
something we can
it's
solve.
just kind of like you said, right? Like someone's life can change in a matter of minutes.
My love of community and my commitment to community was enhanced immensely by walking into that hospital that day because I absolutely had no control. I was
Yeah,
gonna be under anesthesia, and they were gonna
totally.
they were gonna
Let go and trust.
They were gonna turn off my brain, my heart. I was in a room that was close to freezing, and for 10 hours, I lived because there was a heart and lung machine that was blowing my oxygen to my brain and blood through my body. And there was nothing there's not like a pilot who's like, "Oh, I'm really skilled, I can get through this hard thing." I was in the hands of someone else
Yes.
completely, not someone else, but a team of
A
20 or 30.
team. Yep. It is a
And
whole team.
and I did all I could. I researched when they last serviced that heart and lungs machine. I did all those things, and I chose when to have the surgery, what day of the week, what was the most successful days, and when do people die. It
Wow.
turns out
You
yeah,
really took
yeah.
control.
It turns
Yeah.
out that
You still wanted to control
yeah,
that.
as much as I could control, I'm gonna do it. But well, after I had the experience, I walked out, and it turns out that you're better off having surgery on Monday, not because the surgeon's more skilled on Monday, but because the nurses who take care of you afterwards are the best nurses are Monday through Friday because that's the ones who wanna work Monday through Friday, the normal shifts.
True. That
They're
is so
most
true.
experienced, and I literally did they lost me, and they had to bring me back, and it was the nurses that did that for me.
Oh my goodness.
They overdosed me with high blood pressure medicine,
Oh my
and they had to reverse that, and it was amazing, right? But it was that team of people that kept me alive, and that when you face really, really hard things, you need each other. You need more than you.
Oh, I know.
Yeah. You and I
I
know.
know. I know. And so we're hoping that you know that there is a community out there. You'd be surprised how many people can relate to something we don't feel comfortable sharing, that we're scared to share, that I don't know, whatever it might be, the reason that we don't share it, it's okay. Like, it's okay. We all go through things, and it brings healing, and it even just to listen, just, so that you don't go crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even just to get out, to have that social aspect, because that was a concern for my family, was like, we feel you're not going out.
Yeah.
We feel you don't do anything. We feel you're, and I'm like, no, I'm fine. I'm fine. But it was the mom guilt. Like,
Yeah.
I worked forever, and how did I miss all of this? And now I just want to be here and make up for it. And it's like, well, that doesn't work either.
Yeah. It's a little
You
bit like
know,
sleep. You can't
it,
can't catch up, can you?
no, we have to learn to have that balance. We have to learn to let go and trust that there's a whole community that's going to take care of our loved ones, and control. We have to let go of control. Like,
And there's all kinds of places to look to find the examples of where people are stepping up and helping, right?
so many.
And
Oh, so many. I mean, for
but we
me, go ahead.
we hear the opposite. We hear all the negative stories or we hear all the crime stories,
Oh,
but there's
yeah.
so many more that the weight is overwhelmingly for the people who actually do take care of each other.
Yes. Yes. And there's so many more. I mean, I run into someone. I ran into a lady at the gym, and she's 78, she said. And I said, "Do you remember me?" And I said, "It was like 22 years ago, but you helped me navigate the infant and toddler program
Mhm.
for my son that helped immensely to, with all of the different therapies and services for children that were blind." And
Mhm.
I was like, there was no way I could have done it by myself. And seeing her was, she was like, I said, "I really want you to know
That made a huge all the difference.
I was a little young." I wasn't a little girl, but
Yeah.
I was young. I was like early 20s, and I still didn't know a whole lot of what was going on, and I was scared, and it was really nice to have someone guide me.
Yeah.
What, you run into people that are there that make a difference or
Yeah.
have made a difference in your life. Like, have you run into someone lately that you're like, "Oh my gosh."
Yeah. I I see my teachers, my coaches, right? Those were a lot of people. I've lost both my parents, but my parents were those people. And then I really rely on my siblings a lot. We're really fortunate to have each other.
That is so true. You did say, that one of the good memories you have growing up being a redhead is how your sister Michelle.
Just loved my hair. Yeah, she made me feel good about my hair.
Yes.
I didn't know it wasn't supposed to be a good thing.
Yes. And you've talked wonders about Lee, about, how he.
He was someone I really wanted to be like, and but I was the athlete, none of the rest of my siblings were, and so it's really fascinating that I really admired them for their academics and the things that they were accomplishing, um, but I think families, if they're healthy,
Yes, we
can
have all kinds of families.
yeah, but if they're healthy and you can rely on them, then they give you everything.
I agree. It is so beautiful. Like, regardless, we all get busy, we all grow up, but I feel that siblings, once their kids grow up, then the siblings start coming together again,
It's
right?
true.
Isn't that like, I
It's true,
see that.
and then we
I
get
notice that with your family,
so for sure,
and I'm
we're
starting to notice that with my family.
it's so funny because I think there's these elevations of life where you're a kid, a toddler, then you're a teen, you get more independence, and then you have your own family and you're like that. But then there's a there's a landing too, where you're like in your 60s and you start suddenly your kids are gone, you're a teen again because you have this freedom, and all the other seniors want to be around
Yes.
you, and then you go to assisted living and you're a toddler again, and like it's gonna be fascinating. One thing I'd love to
I
do,
think so.
my siblings and I joke about this, is that we need to sell all of our real estate and make a compound and have a nurse just come live with us.
I think
So
that would be so much better.
so that we have people
Right.
that care about us and know us.
That would be so much better. Kids, if you're hearing this, I like that idea. If for whatever reason I didn't tell you, you listened, you heard this, I like that option. Well,
Siblings.
thank you so much for being here with us today. I know we've covered a lot. I want to say uh, genuinely, thank you for truly caring, for wanting to be involved, for being welcoming,
Yes, thank you. You're the same.
inviting sometimes. I mean, sometimes we're honest here.
Yeah.
Sometimes sometimes I'm not.
We all have those days.
Sometimes I make unpopular decisions too,
Yes.
and they're hard. They're not easy to make, but sometimes they have to be made.
Yeah.
Well, we hope you have an excellent rest of the month, and we hope to see you next time in La Voz que Conecta. Thank you so much to our guest, John.
Thank you.
Don't forget to follow us. Find us on YouTube, Spotify, on Facebook, and we'll put all the links in the comments. But thank you again. Gracias a todos por estar con nosotros en un episodio más de La Voz que Conecta. Esto ha sido María Álvarez y estaremos con ustedes en el próximo episodio. Hasta pronto.
Thank you.
Welcome